Last week, Jesus was discussing how he really is God. That there's one God, but there's three persons of that God. And this is a radical concept, and you have to understand that's why the Jews wanted to kill him. Because the Jews had protected for so long this idea that there was only one God. Everybody else around them had this idea that there were several gods and that there was gods that were fighting against each other and whatnot. But the Jews had said, no, there's only one God. And so when one of their own, Jesus Christ, comes along and he starts calling God Father, who do you think you are? Hercules? You're Zeus's son or something? And it was so blasphemous to them, and they so wanted to protect the notion that there is only one God, that they failed to recognize that the God that they were trying to protect was right in front of them. That Jesus really is God. As you were looking at chapter 6 this last week, you read some miracles that Jesus performed. The first miracle actually lines up with yet another Greek god, Demeter. In fact, that's a Greek goddess of bread. And you see how Jesus feeds the multitudes with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And again, for a Greek who was reading this would be like, wow, Jesus is so much better than my old beliefs. It says here that Jesus feeds the 5,000, and I know that in the book of John it doesn't necessarily specify that there was 5,000 people there, but it actually specifies it in some of the other Gospels that talk about this very same event, that there was 5,000 men there. But that there was many, many more, because that was just the men. That most of them probably brought their families along. So Jesus fed a lot of people. In fact, before he fed them, he kind of goes to the disciples and says, hey, what are we going to do about this? And Philip answered him, and your Bible may say, man, 200 denarii would not be enough to buy food for all these people. And 200 denarii is about 8 months worth of wages. Man, it was an impossible situation. And so I'm looking forward to the fact that you guys get to discuss how Jesus resolved this situation. Again, there's another miracle where Jesus walks on water. Again, there was the Greek god Poseidon of the seas and of the ocean. And Jesus was so much better than Poseidon. You see, the Sea of Galilee is one of these seas that was very turbulent. Storms can come, even to this day, just come on the Sea of Galilee without any warning. It could be beautiful out, and then all of a sudden it's like these hurricane force winds are coming through. And yet Jesus is able to walk on the water and calm the water towards the end of the story. But those are the miracles in this story. And it's funny that despite those miracles, by the end, man, people couldn't accept Jesus. They all walked away from him. Why? What is it that Jesus is trying to communicate that they aren't accepting? In fact, that's what I want you to explore in your Bible studies today. Is what is it that Jesus is trying to communicate that they just can't accept? In verse 28, when they asked him, what must we do to do the works of God? What must we physically do to do the works of God? And Jesus is answering, and this is key, the work of God is this, to believe in the one he sent. And now, for those of you who are kind of freaking out over verse 53, where Jesus says, I tell you the truth, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, that you have no life in you. I know some of you guys were probably reading that going, this is about cannibalism, and maybe some of you were even thinking about not coming to group today. But I don't want you to worry. Jesus is not talking about cannibalism. But he is saying that there's going to be an event that's going to happen in the future that they have to accept. So my question this week is, what is Jesus trying to communicate that they aren't willing to accept? And I hope you guys have a blast in your small groups today. God bless you, and have a great rest of the week.